What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joshua Freeman, and welcome to Joshua vs. Television, where I break down, review, and go against all your favorite television shows. Today, the television show I'll be going against, standing in the blue corner, Law & Order Special Victims Unit, Season 1. Law & Order Special Victims Unit is a spinoff of the original Law & Order, but deals with sexually based offenses. Season 1 of SVU stars Christopher Milani, Mariska Hargitay, Richard Blitzer, Michelle Hurd, Dean Winters, and Dan Florek. The same template applies from Joshua vs. the movies for the most part, so if you guys have any questions on the scoring template for each category, it will be in the description below. But enough of that, let's get to the numbers. So when it comes to the actors and the acting of the season, it turns out to be really good. The show does a good job getting to know the characters and who they are, while usually making it relate to the overall theme of the show. Mariska as Olivia Benson is one of the highlights of the season. She is in fact a rape baby, and it does make sense why she's so committed to her job throughout the season.
Do you think this is healthy for you?
You were raped, for God's sakes. Are you telling me that you don't understand why she did what she did?
Oh, I understand it. That does not mean that I condone it.
And Christopher Milani is another highlight as Elliot Stabler. Milani does a great job showing how Elliot struggles with separating his home and his work.
I am upset. Fine.
While also trying not to kill every pedophile he comes in contact with. The best character of the season, though, I feel, is Richard Blitzer as John Munch. He not only starts the one-liners in the office, but his thought process and his vibe is great throughout the season also. And when it comes to Michelle Hurd as Detective Monique Jeffries, she starts off as a reoccurring character, but as she's included more throughout the season, she doesn't turn out to be bad at all. And Dean Winters as Brian Cassidy doesn't turn out to be bad either. And also, Dan Florek as Captain Cragen turns out to be a really good captain. So with that, the season earns a 1.0 out of 1.0 for actors and acting. And when it comes to the plot and the story of the season, it turns out to be really good in what you expect from a show like this. The detectives struggle with the cases sometimes due to how graphic they are. 73% of the victims died throughout the season, with most of them being at the beginning of the episode. And 87% of the criminals were caught throughout the season. But the nature of the crimes was still a lot for the characters. And that's with 13% of the criminals actually getting away. And in regards to Elliot, he sometimes struggles with separating home and work life since he has daughters. For example, in episode 18, a pedophile chat room causes Stabler to crack down on the computer use at home, causing trust issues with his daughter.
But they're out there.
Honey, they're in here.
And since Olivia is the child of a rape victim, she's constantly throwing herself out of work. She even sleeps with Cassidy, and he even tries to pursue it further, but she's always thinking about work, and she's made it about her.
Say you couldn't be a sex crimes detective anymore. What would you be?
And speaking of Cassidy, the nature of the crimes turned out to be too much for him, as he was transferred out in episode 13. And because of that, Detective Jeffries becomes Munch's partner. And even in the cases where Munch is the primary detective, he struggles with the nature of the cases as well. In episode 20, Munch works a case in which the victim wants to know who raped her, and also why they're like that.
But more importantly, I want to know why.
Why? Sarah, I deal with guys like Krieger all day, every day. Most of the time, they don't even know why.
And Munch, being the guy that he is, he initially shrugged it off and just thought bad guys would be bad.
Then what does?
I don't know. But I'm more comfortable knowing that I don't know than I would be if I gave you an easy answer. These guys do what they do, and we try to stop them.
But I think after she dies and the question is brought up again, he actually begins to think about it. In episode 21, a piano teacher molests a boy until he's an adult, and the impact causes him to do the same when he's an adult. And that right there makes Munch wonder. And I gotta say, I like the theme that they placed in towards the end of the season. I also like the inclusion of the Warren Commission in the season. It shows up in episode 14, where SVU is ordered to look into a rape case where the statute of limitation is about to expire. And this friction results in the Warren Commission sending a psychiatrist to the department to evaluate everyone for stress.
People, listen up. One Police Plaza's latest directive, bi-yearly psychological evaluation.
And the result of the evaluation is Detective Jeffries getting benched after revealing she slept with a former suspect. And in addition to the cases, there were times when the death was accidental or suicide, but that only happened less than 1% of the time during the season. For an example, in episode 2, a woman killed herself by suicide because she was raped in the past by her father. Another thing that happened less than 1% of the time was a cop being a criminal. In episode 4, a cop admits to a string of hooker murders after a copycat appears. And throughout the season, never was the criminal a victim at all. Also, another thing that is included in season 1 is random dialogue about other court cases, and some detectives testifying on separate court cases throughout the episode. I mean, it's not that big, but it's still something I noticed. So with that, the season earns a 1.0 out of 1.0 for plot and story, and a 0.5 out of 0.5 for drama. So in all, Law & Order SVU Season 1 turns out to be a great start to the series, mainly because it does a great job fleshing out who the characters are, while also always keeping it related to the case. The visuals and the stunts turn out to be good as well, as the season earns a 0.5 out of 0.5 for visuals and stunts. The show also does a great job showing the toll a job like SVU detective can have on a person. And when it comes to the directing in the season, it turns out to be really good also. So with that, the movie earns a 0.9 out of 1.0 for directing. And when it comes to the score, there wasn't a substantial score throughout the season. So with that, the season earns a 0.0 out of 0.2 for score. So now that we have all the numbers, let's add them up. So the season earns a 4.2 out of 4.5, and that gives it an A+ rating for the season. So there you guys have it. That's my season 1 review of Law & Order SVU. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and also let me know which television show you want me to go against next. But until then, this is Joshua Freeman. This has been Joshua vs. Television. I'm going to see you guys in the next match.